Mark S., and I have, of my own free accord,
elected to undergo the procedure
known as severance.
Awesome.
Welcome to Worth the Watch, where I watch the show and I let you know if it's worth it or not. Today we're going to talk about Severance. Before I get into it, I wanted to do a recap of Season 1 from what's in the old noggin. So Severance is a psychological thriller type of TV show where characters work in this corporation called Lumen Industries. Has a water droplet as the logo. You have characters like Mark S., Irving, Helly, Dylan, and Petey all working within Lumen. I'll get into these characters in a bit, but people who work at Lumen have to go through the severance procedure. What that does, it separates your consciousness from what work is to what your actual life is, and gives you that work-life balance everybody's been looking for. The only thing is, you don't remember any of your consciousness while you're at work. So your innie is what they call the people at work, and your outie are the people who enjoy the personal life. So they're two separate people with two separate lives, technically, two separate consciousness, but one body. So when you step into the elevator, it does this, and you change the character. And then when you leave work, it does that, and you're back. That's essentially what Severance is. Now, in Season 1, you find out that, people think it's an immoral and unethical procedure, so people are boycotting it and they have strong opinions on it. You don't know what they're doing in Lumen. No one really knows what they're doing. The work that they're doing is a mystery, and all they really know is when they're click-clacking on their keyboards, they have intense emotion when they group up these numbers and they put them into some files. So that's really Season 1 of Severance. Well, I guess that's not all of it. At the end of the season, these characters really try to figure out what's going on, what is the work that they're doing, and they take actions to try to shed some light on that to the outside characters, or the outside consciousness that they have. So they, at one point, find out about the overtime contingency.
They can wake us up on the outside.
Daddy!
I saw my son. Now I'm just supposed to have that in my head every day here.
I took a separate job because it sounds freaking awesome. So no, I don't think severance divides us.
It allows them to hit a button where they can interact with the innie while they're actually an outie, and they didn't know about this. So once they find out that that's a thing, they say, hey, we can use the overtime contingency to allow our innies to communicate with our outies, the outies' personal people in their lives. Family. That's what I should have said. The outies' family. What is this thing that you call outies when they interact with people on the outside world? Family and friends, that's what they are. Anyway, so they devise a plan to hit a button, overtime contingency, and then all the innies can experience the outside world and what their outies pretty much experience. When this happens, Mark's character finds out that Miss Casey is his own wife, and Miss Casey is alive at Lumen. That was a big revelation at the end of Season 1. Helly's character finds out that she is actually Helena Egan, the daughter of Jamie Egan, the CEO of Lumen Industries. So she's having this I can't believe I'm the role model of Lumen right now, and I'm like a chairman of the company, a founder's daughter. She's up there. Irving's character has a relationship with Bert, not in the outside life, but he wants to go see him. And then Dylan's character is the one who's setting this plan into motion for all of the innies to communicate with the outies, friends, and family. So he's holding off Mr. Milchick, and he's not going to spend time with the family during all of this. He's putting his foot up against the door or something like that, or using his belt, I forgot. But anyway, end of season 1 kind of reveals all of this about Lumen, a little bit of, you know, the weird inconsistencies of their work, and the fact that they're hiding and kidnapping people to use for experimentation, which is Mark's wife, Gemma. That's season 1. Season 2 picks up from right where that left off. So Harmony Cobell, what used to be the floor manager of Lumen, but quits or gets ousted. I forgot what happened to her character, but Mr. Milchick takes over the severed floor, and he's managing macro data refinement with Mark, but then he replaces, you know, Dylan, Helly, and Irving with 3 other random people. That doesn't last long because Mark's like, I'm not gonna do this fucking shit if my friends aren't here. Where are my friends? Is pretty much how that goes. And then they bring them all back. And then they go on this retreat. And during that retreat, I'm gonna get into spoilers now. During the retreat, Irving's character is looking at Helly, and he's like, what did you find out when you were out there? What did you find out, Helly? Tell us. Helly's like, you know, gardening. She's lying. But Irving knows she's lying. So as a viewer, we're experiencing this as Helly is lying about this situation because she feels bad that her character is one of the heads of the company. And she's like, I want to keep this friendship that I have with these people, and I don't want to expose who I really am yet. But Irving knows something that the audience doesn't know. And you find out at the end of the episode because he's acting very weird towards Helly. He's saying she's not a nice person. He's really going off on her. And he's like very down in the dumps because his innie found out that the Audi bird is in a relationship, and maybe he's very upset about that. But there's a lot about Irving's character that is still left a mystery by even the end of season 2, so I hope they go more into that into season 3. But during the retreat, Irving tries to drown Helly and says, you're an Egan, this isn't Helly. And at that moment, we're all like, what the fuck? That's Helena Egan acting like she's Helly? So this throws everybody for a little spin, and Helena almost dies again when she's trying to play her innie. It's kind of crazy. So at that moment, you realize that at what point in season 2 has Helena been playing Helly, and what does Mark know? That has he just told Helena everything? So like pretty much everything's been revealed, like what everybody knows, what the plan is, that they need to save Gemma, that there's this mysterious hallway, that there's goats for some reason. A lot of mystery going on. While all of that's happening, what's Dylan's character doing? He wants to reconnect with his Audi's wife, so he has a whole side story with his Audi's wife. Irving gets fired. They have a funeral for Irving because once a severed character gets fired, they're essentially dead. And then the season continues. The crazy thing in season 2, I didn't expect Harmony Cobell's character to be like a pivotal character inside. So she gets her own episode. In that episode, you kind of find out that she played a large role in the severance procedure and probably created the severance procedure. And somehow the Egan Keir family has claimed this as their own. And essentially near the back half of the season, they're really trying to solicit the help of Harmony to help revive, and get Gemma out of the basement of Lumen. Because once the work is done, they're gonna kill her. Spoiler alert again. So really the overall plot of season 2 is Mark, Helly, Dylan trying to get Gemma out of the basement of Lumen. There is also a very cool episode about what they're doing with Gemma, kind of like some of the human experimentation that they're using for on her, and like what they're actually trying to get out of in the severance procedure. They don't really say what it is exactly, but Harmony's character goes into the whoa, this feeling. I don't remember all of it, but it was pretty interesting. Anyway, how the season ends. This part was pretty crazy. They bust Gemma out of that bitch. Some people die. The goat doesn't get sacrificed. Mark's Audi and Annie have a little back and forth because Mark's Audi is like needs to work with Mark's Annie to get this whole plan done, because once they go in the elevators, they're gonna flip-flop between personalities or consciousnesses, so they have to be on the same page. But they can't get on the same page because essentially they want to free all Annies, meaning all Annies are gonna die. So Annie Mark, who has a relationship with Annie Helly, doesn't want to die, even though at some point these characters are going to have to die. So that's essentially season 2. Mark's Audi saves Gemma. Mark Annie screws Mark's Audi by running away with Helly. Freeze frame. That's pretty much how the season ends. So that's season 2. I really enjoyed season 2. Almost every episode was very captivating and had me on the edge of my seat. What is this? What's happening? They're revealing more information. Give me more. Why do I have to wait a week? I want to just take it all in. I can't. They give it to you in a nice, healthy way. I like serialized television where it comes out weekly. It's pretty nice. It reminds you of how they used to do it back in the day. You gotta sit down on the couch when stuff premiered. Don't want to miss it. But essentially, I give season 2 of Severance a 9 out of 10. 9 big ones. 9 severed innies out of 10, if you will. What does that even mean? It was a good season. What I feel worked and what didn't work is what I'm getting into next. What happened with Irving's character? I feel they didn't give me enough to feel satisfied with his character just going on a train because they felt he's going to die. It was kind of like the reason he goes on a train to leave. Kind of felt short. I wish his character would have had kind of gone into how his character's doing these paintings, or how his innie is. Maybe they'll do this in season 3. So who knows? Why his innie, who has seen this door that leads down into the Lumen Abyss, why his Audi is drawing these paintings. That was kind of like still a mystery. Like, is he connected somehow? And then I feel like we didn't get a whole lot of Audi Irving, and it felt like Audi Irving was just the same as any Irving, but in the outside world. So maybe I would have liked a little bit more Irving. I like Dylan. I like what happened with his character, his wife, how his innie was pretty much cheating on the wife on his Audi self. I like the note that he left himself, to stay with Lumen. So that was pretty touching. I think that's pretty much it, though. I think it was a pretty solid season. Some of my speculation on what's gonna happen next. So Gemma is in the outside world. Mark's character is on the innie world. So they've essentially swapped places. Mark ran away with Helly. Gemma's on the outside, not knowing that Mark went through a severance procedure. So kind of what I'm hoping in season 3 is Harmony and Mark's sister find Gemma and have to devise a plan to get Mark out, because maybe they start experimenting on Mark to take place of Gemma. Helly's character, I have no idea what's gonna happen with this character. At least the Annie. Like, the Annie, outside of running away with Mark, she knows that Mark needs to leave, but she still ran away with him anyway. I want Irving's character to come back, give us more of what he knows. He's probably one of the most tenured people at Lumen, and I feel he has more to contribute in the story. Dylan's funny, so I hope he comes back. We get some laughs from him. Mr. Milchick's character, I think near some of the things or some of the scenarios in season 2, he was kind of conflicted with this, why am I doing this shit? I'm above this shit. So I hope he has a rebellious moment in season 2 or season 3. And I hope we get more information on the Egan family and how Harmony Cobell first started working together and created Lumen. I think that would be pretty cool. So those were my thoughts on Severance Season 2. Very much so enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one. Ooh.